Good morning. Good morning. You're listening to the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast. The 49ers have made a decision. They're going to go ahead and hire Nick Sorson as the defensive coordinator. And they're also going to go ahead and make a decision of bringing in Brandon Staley, former Chargers head coach. And they're going in a whole different direction. And this is no surprise. I felt Nick Sorson or somebody internal would get the job, but there's an interesting twist, and I'm going to play something for you because I see something totally different. You know, Money Mike, what I do with the 49ers, I'll cover them in a different way. And I'm going to take you behind the scenes and tell you what's really going on. But I want you to take a listen here and to what is being said because there are some issues out there, and
We all
I'm
know
not
that.
quite
There's
sure.
always something behind
Yes.
a marriage.
Right.
If it's
Yeah.
not going well,
Right,
it, it doesn't just happen
Right,
overnight.
right.
So, but if you want to talk about the game, their offense went 3 for 12 on third down.
Oops.
Our offense went 9 for 19. But if your offense is going 3 for 12 on third down, is that Wilks' fault? If your tight end, who's all pro,
Yeah.
Kittle,
Yeah.
only has one catch for 4 yards, is that Wilks' fault?
Right, no.
I mean, so
Yeah.
therefore you can feed McCaffrey all you want to.
Yeah.
He needs help. And then number 11, who was trying to fight all game, Aiko, whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. He only had 40-something yards. Was that Wilkes' fault? So,
Folks, this is what you got. We're breaking this to you, okay? And I've heard the media on the coverage of this and get used. Money Mike is, I'm very thankful for Tom, my IT person, because we can bring that to you now. Here's what you got, folks. Kyle Shanahan, and didn't believe when I said Kyle Shanahan has been blackballed. Okay, he's been blackballed by the NFL coaches. Kyle Shanahan, okay? Let me tell you what's going on because this news is breaking, and I'm going to tell you the 49ers, okay? I want you to listen to the language that comes out with the San Francisco 49ers. As I've been in the league, I've covered the 49ers, the history of them, Eddie DeBartolo. What Kyle Shanahan has done, he's broken the code. He has broken the code not only with the 49ers and the organization, he has broken the code of the NFL coaches. Now, here's what happens. That is Dave Merrit, who's with the Kansas City Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowls. Dave Merrit also played for Buddy Ryan, okay? So this is a strong message. If you look at it, what was happening, when you have an NFL coach has to go to a defensive back to do an interview, to come in after you won a Super Bowl, that doesn't happen. What Kyle Shanahan did, folks, he has set a precedent that nobody in this league has seen. I don't even remember in all my years of ever seeing a defensive coordinator get fired. So what do you have here? You have a situation where you're calling Robert Saleh a Rooney Rule to ask him to interview his coordinator? No, absolutely not. Okay? You can't call D'Amico Ryans. Do you know how much respect in the league of NFL coaches Steve Wilks has? Okay, when you do something to the magnitude of this, and I'll tell you something else that's going on here. Because I can tell you what I see, and I'll tell you what the 49ers are about to do. Okay, you think Brandon Staley, this was hired by the 49ers. That's the brand. And Brandon Staley is being brought in as a potential interim head coach. And the Bay Area media and all the beat writers who screamed loud enough and said, Bill Belichick, okay, you put that in play. Okay, you put that in play. And folks, let me tell you how this works out. The media said how wonderful. That was a survey given to everybody in the Bay Area. That was a survey. Bill Belichick. Not to be a D coordinator, Bill Belichick to come in and run the San Francisco 49ers. And folks, I will tell you this. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they're having a reunion. Those two have been together this entire football career. Bill ever coaches again, I guarantee you, Nick Saban's going to be right there, whether he's on vacation Because for Nick Saban to walk in an NFL building, that's a vacation for Nick Saban. Okay, so here's what you got that's going in play. Because Kyle Shanahan was hired not because of his coaching ability. He was hired because of his father. Kyle Shanahan was not hired strictly on his own merit. He was hired solely on the merit of Mike Shanahan. Now, I don't know if the two had a split. I don't know what happened because there's NFL coaches out there that want nothing to do with Kyle Shanahan. They don't want to interview with you. And I can tell you this, you are calling Dave Merrit a veteran NFL coach. So in the advisement of all people and all coaches, the code is you would never, ever get on the media or anywhere and speak about any other coach. Kyle broke that code. And when Kyle Shanahan broke the code, okay, he went out there and he started embarrassing Steve Wilks. You're moving him from the booth. Okay, now you're embarrassing him again, lack of effort. Now you're calling timeouts and embarrassing him again. And this is what happened. Kyle Shanahan, instead of just relaxing, finishing up, take a vacation, think about it, he had a knee-jerk reaction. This man, Steve Wilks, was in line to be a head coach in the NFL. If he would have won and Shanahan would have had his production and his side together, and that's what Dave Merrit just told us. It's not our fault his offense went 3 for 12. That has nothing to do with Steve Wilks. It's not Steve Wilks' fault that Kittle didn't get the ball. It's not Steve Wilks' fault that Brandon Ayuk didn't get the ball. Folks, this is serious business because you've broken the code of the NFL. You have broken the code and you have been blackballed, okay? And that shield in that NFL, and we understand that we don't have a whole lot of coaches. But when you have a Rooney Rule, who you are sitting there and you have teams calling to interview him, and now you have fired him. And there's no other coach that wants to come in and work with Kyle Shanahan, okay? And what you're seeing here, Nick Sorensen hire, that's nothing, folks. Don't be confused. He was already there. They could have done that last year. You didn't have to bring Steve Wilks in. And there's no other coach that's going to come in and run your system. He has broken the code, folks. That's what Kyle Shanahan has done. And now it's affecting not only the 49ers. Here's where it goes a little deeper. Okay, you have the NFL brand, and then you have the 49ers brand. With the 49ers brand, they support the African American. They support Black Lives Matter. Okay, this one is a bombshell. We understand there's not a whole lot of head coaches, but we're going to progressively work to move forward. That's the Rooney Rule. But there's a whole lot of African American coaches who are assistants. Okay, he never intended to be a candidate. When he came in here, he showed up. Okay, but he really wanted to send a message, and that wasn't a message just from Dave Merrit. That was a message from the coaches in the NFL. How dare you call me after you fired Steve Wilks? I'm a veteran. I'm a two-time Super Bowl back-to-back champion under Steve Spagnuolo. Are you serious, Kyle? Are you serious? And the 49ers put a stop to this mess. Okay, and listen at the language. When he fired Steve Wilks, it was my decision. And folks, what happened here? Nobody expected the backlash. And if you notice something, Jed York is very distant here. Very distant. So distant that it's not good. And when I tell you he's very distant, when this happens, there's something going to come down. I'm telling you, Brandon Staley wasn't hired. He knows defense, but that's the potential interim replacement. I don't know if Shanahan can get through the start of the season or he can get through the season. Because if he starts out 0-3, I guarantee Staley's going to be there to take the job. That's the whole reason why you're bringing Brandon Staley in, okay? Because this situation has gotten really bad. The backlash that's coming from the NFL is really bad. Now, let's get to Bill Belichick. yes, Bill Belichick will come in the Patriot way, but here's the difference. As I went with Josh McDaniels in Oakland, that's Josh by himself. I'm talking about Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, okay, all of the coaches, Nick Vrabel. It's a Patriot reunion coming in San Francisco. I'm giving you a scenario, and I'm telling you, folks, it's my opinion. It's my opinion, but if it turns to truth, I've given you the facts before they've actually happened. And what I see in this scenario, because this one here is not going to work. And when you get all these men in that room, okay, now on top of this is how bad the scenarios went, because this was never about race. When you heard me speak about Rooney Rule, all coaches are good coaches. For the life of me, I have no idea why Joe Lombardi's not a head coach. However, when you look at these situations, and it's been presented here, Kyle Shanahan has made it about race. He has made it about race. When you fired Steve Wilks, every black coach in that room, Anthony Lynn, immediately bolted away from San Francisco. Okay? I'm sitting here. I've been a head coach in this league, and you got somebody else. I mean, this is not right. And I want to tell you something else. Okay? Losing Anthony Lynn is going to really cause some differences in the production of Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm going to give it to you uncut, okay? Because Anthony Lynn played in the league, and he has coached in the league, and he has been a head coach in the league. And when you start disrespecting the men, I'm not talking about the new coaches. I'm talking about the men who have played in this league and the men who have coached in this league. And there's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of D coordinators out there that can come in and call this, but ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody coming to the 49ers to do no helping. Folks, this is very serious to the 49er fans. You've broken it. And I say to the point, Eddie DeBartolo, the original owner, and Jed York, the current owner, and his nephew, okay, they never in the history of the San Francisco 49ers have an African-American black coach been treated to what Kyle Shanahan has did. Okay, this one here, and he only got this job not because of his coaching merit. The reason Kyle Shanahan got this job was because of Mike Shanahan. And if Mike Shanahan wasn't coming here, then Kyle Shanahan wouldn't have been here. Okay, we have watched this. And this chapter is coming to an end. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast. We are telling you the inside, and the second inside is the Bay Area media has brought this and circled around it and kept mentioning the name. And when I say Bay Area media, I'm talking about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick will be on TV this next year. That's already done. Let me tell you how it works, folks. Bill Belichick is a corporate enterprise business manager. He's got a sabbatical for a year as he puts a coaching staff together. And then after that, the 49ers, if Kyle Shanahan does not win, he will no longer be the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. If the San Francisco 49ers season does not start out correctly, Kyle Shanahan will be replaced and Brandon Staley will be the interim coach. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio podcast, and Dave Merrit from the Kansas City Chiefs, who is a veteran coach in this league, has sent out a message from all the NFL coaches, because no coach gets on anywhere after an interview, and I saw the Bay Area media look at it as he's serious, he's a candidate. There was no intention that he would ever, and there's no intention of any other coaches ever coming to the 49ers as Kyle Shanahan is still the coach. This is very serious. This is not a game. When he fired Steve Wilks, he said, it's my decision. We want to make sure that he takes the podium and says, it was my decision on Nick Sorensen. It was my decision to bring in Brandon Staley. And if you don't hear those words, Money Mike is giving it to you in advance. The 49ers have hired Brandon Staley as the potential interim coach for Kyle Shanahan due to the backlash and being blackballed by coaches in the NFL. And that is what it is, folks. So you stay tuned. We wanted to bring you. We got that news this morning. And this one here, it's going to be what it's going to be. So we're going to sit back and relax and listen. But this one here, you have shamed the 49ers, Eddie DeBartolo. You have shamed the organization and the history of it, of coaches that we have had, from Jim Harbaugh. You've got Dennis Green was at Stanford. You got Dungy. You got a lot of guys that have come through this tree, okay, that have been involved, and they're all men of honor. They're men of honor. And that is so important. And from Kyle Shanahan's knee-jerk reaction, because that's what it was, a knee-jerk reaction, instead of taking time, think about it, okay? And as Dave Merrit was saying in this, and this came to you by Sports Shop, okay? And this is Reese and K-Mac. So I want to give them their credential for doing that. But this is not something that NFL coaches would ever think about doing. And Money Mike said, okay, this is a message from the NFL coaches that Dave Merrit just bought. So go on there if you want to see the full interview, take a look. But that right there is going to be the end of it. And I can tell you this, Money Mike will tell you, if Kyle Shanahan doesn't get off to a great start, he's not winning, he's going to be replaced. Okay, that without a doubt. And we're going to have to wait and see how the other, but if I got Money Mike's going to say Bill Belichick, Nick Saban going to be running the San Francisco 49ers. And for those of you who think that Nick Saban's retired, he's not going to do anything or touch anything in the league or anything like that, that's not going to happen. I mean, these guys are thicker than thieves. But the Bay Area media pushed for it. He's going to be in television. Why he's in television, he's putting his staff together, and I think Teddy Bruschi will come out and enjoy the ride with the San Francisco 49ers. He'll come out of the booth and join, because Bill is the father of a lot of coaches and a lot of players. So you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We always tell you all things are possible to those who believe. And this one here, we're going to take you a little bit higher as we're going to get better and better. And we thank you to our IT person, Tom, as he continues to get us scaled up, that we can deliver you the best. And we look forward to seeing you soon. So tune in, and we'll be back with you. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast.